Oh my God, another Monday, and the weather's starting to turn to the good. This is the Dog, another edition of Weber This Week. This morning on the show, a lot to talk about. Eric Red Lorenzetti is on the couch overseeing the operations of golf at Turning Stone. He'll talk about that. We'll talk a lot about the Masters. Starts up on Thursday. Also, thank you, Warren Buffett, for allowing us to win $1 billion with every pick being correct in the NCAAs. Let me ask you something. How many people had Connecticut, Kentucky playing tonight? Right. Tell me another thing. By the way, folks, next year we're going to have a special here. The Dog will come over and clean your hardwood floors with my tongue if you pick every single game correctly. How's that for a special? Also, the Dog emceed last night's Romulus salute to the Lady Warriors who won the state title in Class D. And also, let's talk about, is there a controversy about Paulina Gretzky being on the front cover of Golf Digest? I think not. I liked it. Good morning, everybody. It's a Monday morning, the 7th of April. We hope that you're having a great Monday. And yes, the weather's going to be decent until later this afternoon. The next couple of days, not so much. But hey, starting Thursday, talking 60s, 65 from like Thursday through Sunday. That's impressive. And without further ado, it's good to bring my longtime friend, Eric Red Lorenzetti, into the studio. Eric, good to see you, buddy. How you been?
I've been great, Harold. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. And, of course, it was perfect timing to have you come in on the 7th because, as you know, being a golf guy and a golf pro, this is Masters Week. It's nothing quite like it.
Like no other.
Nothing other. That's right. The rite of spring is upon us. And we're going to get Jimmy and you to talk Masters. And at the end of the show, we'll get some predictions. A wide open field. But, Red, let's talk. Eric Red Lorenzetti with us. Let's talk about the people that may not know you. It's hard to believe, but you've been a Seneca Falls guy. But talk about your family, where you were brought up, where you went to school, and what you're currently doing.
Okay. Grew up, born and bred, Seneca Falls, New York. Chapel Street, of course, you know. The
there
good
you
side.
go.
But went to Miners Academy after graduating there, a couple years over in Auburn, trying to figure out what I kind of wanted to do. Stayed in the area for some time. And then a bird told me one day, God, you love getting down to the country club every day. Why don't you make it your career? So at that point, actually Nick Serafino was one of them, one person who kind of showed me the path a little bit, and went through the PGA education program, and here we are today.
And, of course, your parents are famous because your dad certainly is a famous guy. Talk about your parents a little bit.
Yeah, no, Mom and Dad are great. Patty and Carlo Jr. Dad just finished up officiating 43 years of high school basketball.
Wow.
And he only threw me out of 2 summer leagues, so that was great as well. But as a former coach, both at St. Patrick's and then Geneva High School for JV girls, I never thought an official was ever correct. So,
and of course, Carlo. Of course, I don't know if he had hearing aids in his later stages of life, but I got to tell you something. That's got to be a tough job. Being a broadcaster and doing play-by-play, you get some heat for what we do. But those poor officials, and for 43 years, he must have heard every adjective in Webster's dictionary.
Well, he absolutely loved it.
I know.
Yeah, he did.
Well, listen, we got Eric Red Lorenzetti on the couch talking golf and, of course, other topics to talk about. Let's first talk about Paulina Gretzky and get Jimmy Senacropi's comment on this because oh, God, the world is coming to an end. And I understand why Mr. Wang, the commissioner of the LPGA, is upset because in recent history, I think there was only 2 or 3 ladies that graced the front cover of Golf Digest. Lorena Ochoa, and, of course, Annika Sorenstam. I don't know if any others did. Jan Stevenson maybe way back
possibly,
when.
Yeah.
So maybe 3 in the history of the LPGA. And all of a sudden, the May edition is out. And who's on the front cover? A non-golfer who's, by the way, engaged to Dustin Johnson, one of the premier stars of the PGA Tour. All right, she's a good-looking girl. Jimmy Senacropi, home of women's rights. What's your comment on Paulina gracing the cover? Come on.
They can do whatever they want.
They
I mean,
can
if
do
the
it.
LPGA would produce more interesting stars, then they would end up on the cover. That tour's struggled over the years because it's predominantly dominated by Asian players who we can't relate to here in America. But Lexi Thompson wins yesterday.
Oh, that was fabulous.
Which was nice.
So, Red, how about you? What's your thoughts on Paulina Gretzky being on the cover?
You know, anything we can do. We're always kind of losing golfers almost every year. So as a golf professional, one of our biggest goals with the PGA of America is to continue to get play. So honestly, almost any attention towards the game is a good thing. I can understand where the commissioner from the LPGA is coming from, though. I mean, he's really built that tour up. That tour was dying 4 years ago,
Absolutely.
And now they're, you know, their best customer base is overseas, and they're traveling more over there. But at the same time, it's I can see both sides of it. There's no doubt.
Well, let me tell you something, folks. A couple stats for you. 82% of the subscribers of Golf Digest are males. And if I walking down New York City today with a cup of coffee and I go by one of the 7 million newsstands and I see Paulina Gretzky on the cover, the dog's going to stop and use my plastic to get that book. I'm sorry. It just impresses me. And I got to give Golf Digest a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 for having a set of you-know-what. To do this, they knew that the controversy would erupt with a capital C, and they still went ahead and did it, and I can't wait to see how their sales are on the May edition. So a little controversy. Of course, she's engaged to Dustin Johnson. Of course, if you just came from Russia, Gretzky, of course, is the daughter of the greatest hockey player to ever put on skates, I would guess, Wayne Gretzky. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls out. But again, as Jim pointed out, those editors and those folks in their Golf Digest administrative offices must have had some long meetings to decide to make this move. And I give them a scale of 1 to 10. I give them a 12 for making that move. It's created controversy. And guess what, Eric? It sells copies.
It does.
So it's going to be interesting. Hey, by the way, before we get talking to Red about his responsibilities at Turning Stone, overlooking that amazing enterprise down there for great golf and some tough layouts, last night I had the good fortune of serving as master of ceremonies for the salute to the Romulus Lady Warriors. Of course, if you missed it, they just won the state title in Class D, an amazing 25-0 season, and I'm going to try to hold this up, but this was the program last night that we were presented upon checking in, and it was just a fabulous job by the committee. I'm going to send out kudos to everybody connected, because if I mention people's names, I'm going to leave somebody out. I personally enjoyed the experience of serving as MC. It was a wonderful evening. We were at the Club 86 in Geneva. How do you beat that for Jimmy's Chicken? It was fabulous. Well done. Well orchestrated. Great salute to the young ladies. Great salute to the coaches, Damon Nicholson, his assistant, Charlie Luffman, and his daughter, Erica Nicholson. It was a superb evening, and I certainly appreciated being there, and I wish the seniors nothing but the best as they move on. But again, kudos to the Romulus Lady Warriors. And as you all know, we had Jessica Rohn and Olivia Brando on the couch a few weeks ago, along with Coach Nicholson. Just a reminder, because we have a booking next week and it's spring break, we're going to have in Chelsea Steinruck to do a show with the dog, because her goal is to be a sportscaster. She'll be where Eric is next week on the couch. And she's a little better looking than Eric, but she's a cutie. Yeah, she's a little better, but she'll be here next week. And so I have offered the Lady Warriors to come when school is out in June. And when you win a state title, it's not going to disappear from people's minds. We would like to have them come in as 2 or threesomes, and we could do that, several shows. Again, the invitation is out there, ladies. And if you'd like to come in, just let me know when school comes out in June, and we'll have you back, because this show goes on every single week. So a great time, Jimmy, and it was a lot of fun to spotlight the Lady Warriors, and they richly, richly deserve all this recognition.
Yeah, as you can't recognize them enough, and what a great thing for all Romulus alumni and the town of Romulus.
Exactly.
And it was glad to see that they were able to make you a part of their night last night.
It was great. I really appreciate it. One of my best memories of being at MC, and I've done a lot of those, but it was really a nice night last night. And Jimmy's Chicken did not disappoint. Red Lorenzetti's on the couch. And Red, let's talk about, you've been with Turning Stone, you said, a year ago, January.
That's correct.
You came in and you're the head golf professional?
That is correct as well.
Give us an overview. First off, let's list the golf courses that are at Turning Stone, because they keep building and putting on operations after operations. And before you know it, there's other courses popping up.
It's very true. We have 5 golf courses. We have 3 championship courses. Adunia, which hosted the Turning Stone Resort Championship for quite a few years. And then we also have the Galuya Golf Course, and then also Shenandoah. Those are 3 championship courses. And then we all have a 9-hole championship par 3 course called Sandstone Hollow that Rick Smith designed. And then we also have a little 9-hole kind of municipal course that the locals love called Pleasant Knolls. In addition to those 5, we also have the Golf Dome, which has a golf superstore, 40 hitting stations, 2-tier. And then actually just last month we introduced the the TaylorMade Tune Performance Center at Turning Stone, which is one of 30 fitting facilities through the country, which we're really excited about. There also has in there, I know with your great putting stroke, you wouldn't need to use it. Red
Yeah,
Dog,
right.
But
Yeah, right.
we have what's called the SAM Putt Lab, which stands SAM is Science in Motion. It's really interesting technology that really the closest you can get anything to it. The whole center itself is either Toronto or south of New York City.
Wow. Yeah, and I saw a little feature CNY Central did that. I was hoping to see in it, but they obviously didn't.
Somebody's got to work.
That's right. But great awesome facility. Yeah. And so somebody from Finger Lakes here can take a drive west. Do you need to make an appointment or
for the Tune Performance Center? Yeah, you do. And the great thing about the Tune Performance Center too is it is tailor-made, but at the same time we have every manufacturer, and it's a decent sized room. But then after we kind of get all the numbers, launch angles, spin rates off drivers, you name it. Then we can go out into the dome. The dome itself is about 100 yards deep, so you see a ton of ball flight. And as an instructor or a club fitter, you need that.
Right.
Sounds good. Okay, Red, let's talk about the area folks checking us out this morning. Want to go to Turning Stone, play some golf. What do they have to do? Is there a number to call, 800 number? How does they hook up to try to set up a tee time?
Yeah, actually, the 361-7711 will get you into any of our golf courses, actually right to the resort. That's 315. It's just a matter of what you're trying to do for the day. There's so many different options out there. We're looking to open up 2 of the golf courses, the Galooya Golf Course, and then also Sandstone Hollow, the par 3, hopefully next Monday. And then the following Monday, Shenandoah and Pleasant Knolls. And then May 1, we'll open up Adunia.
Very nice. So a lot happening at the Turning Stone Resort, and as you folks may not know or may know, I along with my wife Mary, make overnight trips down there once in a while to do a little gambling, have some fun, and every time you go down there, they've added something else to that complex. And the golf course part of Turning Stone is just another grand idea, and it's an opportunity for people to spend a couple days at Turning Stone, do a little gambling, have some fun, go play some golf. Just have some good food.
Last September,
a
friend of mine went down, and we played
Galooya.
Galooya. It's a tough name.
That is.
Of course, the toughest course ever. Very difficult, but beautiful and gorgeous, and a lot of interesting shots they have. And then we went and played Tunio. Got to play 9 with Eric, which was a real treat. And it's playable, but the condition is what blows you away. Yeah. The finest condition golf courses, especially Dunio, that you'll play anywhere in the world. So, it is a higher price tag than most of your municipal courses around here. But if you love golf, it's worth a shot to get out there and see what truly a PGA Tour quality condition course is like.
Yeah, if you think about it, 20 years ago, would we have 3 golf courses a little over an hour away that are ranked in the top 100 in the country, that you can play. You have Oak Hill and a couple of the privates, but nothing like that at all. So it's pretty neat. You really have to travel a long way to play those 3. And the best thing about that, too, it makes a great weekend of it. I've been at a facility before in Wisconsin, Lake Geneva, called Geneva National Golf Club. Had Palmer, Player, and Trevino. Those were the 3 courses, kind of that same thing. But this is even a step, a big step higher than that as far as the quality of the golf course. Adunia itself, 15-minute tee times. So it's like you have the place to yourself. Yep. It's its own special experience. And, it was fun to be able to play 9 holes with Jimmy, kind of back to the days of the old SFCC.
How'd you hit it? I'm sure good, right?
Well, I don't want to say anything, but him and his other partner,
Phil.
That's right, Phil. They had a little skins game going, birdies,
right?
And I think they were tied 2 each, and it took me to time 7 holes in, which surprised me because I wasn't playing at all. But I had a little home course advantage. Not that I get to play much either, but it was a riot. And you know what? That's been the awesome thing about coming back home after being in the Midwest for 12 to 13, 14 years, is being able to do stuff like that. I snuck back home in August to play Seneca Falls Country Club, throw on some shorts, see the white legs.
There you go.
And it was like I never left, and I owe a ton to the club.
All right, by the way, so if you're interested in heading to Turning Stone sometime during spring and summer, that number again, Red, was?
361-7711.
give a call. Now, if you got a twosome or a threesome, you'd hook somebody up with them. They make arrangements in a pro shop to get you on the course. It's really quite an experience, and doesn't have to go in a casino and gamble if you don't want to gamble, but you can go play golf and have a few laps. And I'll tell you something, they got some awesome restaurants at Turning Stone. I know the Pinot one that we go to all the time.
Pinot's great.
TS
Steakhouse.
Love the steakhouse.
The neat thing, too, now is it's called TS Rewards, which is a loyalty program that now actually has nothing to do as far as gaming. You can earn points. We have a ton of people that use the golf dome or play golf, and that's all they do, and then eat afterwards.
And so like comps for golf, you don't have to be table time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a nice touch. So check it out if you're interested in going down there. It'll be quite a thrill. It's not going to be a pitch and putt course, trust me. Well, they have the par 3, but other than that, it's going to be a demanding course. All right, we're going to take our commercial break. Let's talk Connecticut, Kentucky, get the ideas from the guys here on the couch. And, Jimmy, who would have ever thought Connecticut, are you serious, getting in the NCAA final? And, of course, we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Weber this week, good to be with you on a Monday morning. We'll be back after we hear from our great sponsors. Eagle Lake National Bank. Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora. A fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor, Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her great team will find that right spirit for you every time. Tell Amy the dog sent you. Steve Wadhams, Wadhams Enterprises, your employer of choice. Proud supporter of this show and local athletics. Steve Muller Motors. smullermotors.com. Quality, affordable vehicles, both foreign and domestic. Bob and Leslie Oman, owners of the Oman Theater, in Lions as well as the Newark Pilots, a minor league baseball team with a major league ballpark. Lizard's Tailgater Lounge, Waterloo. Best mott sticks around, where you can enjoy a drink and some laughs. SenecaFallsCountryClub.com. Awesome 18-hole layout, offering a 12-month payment plan. Home of the toughest par 4 in central New York. That'd be number 16. Wilson Press, wpress.com. Seneca Falls, Rich Ricky, my good friend, and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Rich Ricky, Wilson Press, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week. It's good to be with you back here on Weber This Week. It's nice to have you on. As a viewer, check it out. We're going to talk some basketball, then we're going to talk Masters. We've only got, 10 minutes left in the show. It's amazing how fast the show goes. All right, let's talk about tonight's NCAA final. And really, be honest with me, I want you to really go to St. Pat's and see a priest before you come over to the studios. Bring your sheet of paper and tell me that you had Connecticut taking on Kentucky. As we talked to Red at the Opus Coffee Shop across the street, a 7 seed against an 8 seed never happened in the NCAA history, and all of a sudden we got it going out here tonight. If you like to gamble, speaking of Turning Stone, and you got some friends in Vegas that want to throw down some $100 bills for you, the line is either 2.5 or 3. Kentucky favored 2.5, depending on which casino you go to. It's 2.5 minimum. It's 3 maximum. Kentucky favored tonight for the gold if you want to legalize some gambling and got some friends out in Vegas to throw some money at it. Red, I know you're shell-shocked like the rest of the nation is on this final. Your thoughts on it? Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's been a great college basketball year, but I would say UConn's defense looks tough. I mean, it really does, and that shut down Florida's penetration, and I think that might do the same thing against Kentucky, as much as that might pain Jim.
I know.
Well, it's sad because, I'm rooting for UConn tonight, and I never, ever root. Last time I rooted for UConn to win a basketball game, when they beat Duke in the finals 5 years ago.
Ricky Moore, was that way back in?
No, it wasn't too long ago. Okay. It was within the last 5-6 years. The last time UConn won it, I think, was they beat Duke.
Well, the thing I heard on the radio or on TV this morning was if UConn wins, it's 4 out of the last 16 years championships, and if Kentucky wins, it's 4 out of the last 20. So who knows? It'll be interesting.
I'm hoping for like San Francisco's World Series situation where maybe there's an earthquake or something. They just call it off.
Oh, Jimbo.
I'll be watching live from the Masters, though. That's me. So
yeah, I mean, I want to talk Masters.
That's it.
What's your pick, dog? What's your pick?
I'm going with Kentucky. I think they're going to repeat. Hasn't happened that many times. It's happened a few times, but not that many times to repeat as NCAA champions.
So they didn't win last year, though.
Who won it last year?
Not Kentucky.
I thought it was Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Kentucky won 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
The state of Kentucky won.
The state of Kentucky, yeah. Louisville won last year.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's what partners are for in two-man best ball. I got you.
Thanks, Red. It's called age as I approach 69. You're right. I had my mind Kentucky. All right, but I just got Kentucky in my mind to win tonight. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a run and gun. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I like Kentucky. Red, who do you like?
I'm going to go with UConn, even though I think Kentucky's been running it. You know, the funny thing, too, is I think everybody had Wisconsin and Florida in the final. It's the exact opposite.
How about you, Jimmy? You're going with Kentucky?
No, I'm going with UConn. I think Shabazz Napier's probably, well, they both have a premier player who's kind of output their team on their back. But, the one thing about UConn I do like is Shabazz Napier. He's a good kid. He stayed there for 4 years, and I think he's going to close the book. And both guard play Boatwright, Napier. I think that'll be the difference.
And by the way, before we get talking Masters, if you heard a scream while you were laying in your bed over the weekend, that was Mark Emmerick, the president of the NCAA, making some stupid comments about he thought that the fact that the Northwestern folks have now got the National Labor Relations Board to approve them to be unionized athletes, he said it was grossly inappropriate to do this. I don't blame him for saying that because Mr. Emmerich is sitting on about $700 billion. And guess what? The athletes want a piece of that pie, baby. They don't care about the free scholarship and the $60,000 a year. That's only $250,000 over 4 years. It's a lot of money to me and Red, and maybe not Jimmy. But let me tell you something. They're sitting on billions and billions of dollars, and guess what? I hope the players win this, and I hope the players can unionize and across the nation sell their wares if they got the athletic skills and send them up to Walmart and line them up around the block to get pictures and autographs from Tyler Ennis, Jamaris Parker, and the rest of these athletes, because I think time is changing. That free ride isn't so free anymore, and when you're a superb athlete, you should be able to get the wares and get the cash, baby. This is America. I'm glad it's happening, and I hope they stick it to the NCAA. That's the way I feel. How about it, Red?
Sounds like you're passionate about it.
Oh, I don't think these NCAA sits on these billions of dollars and they just rip these kids off. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear any more about, it's a great thing, it's a free ride. Baloney. I'm not talking about mediocre players, by the way. I'm talking about the real good to excellent players in swimming, tennis, lacrosse. They should be able to sell their talent.
Well, that's the problem, though, is that your All-American swimmer or your All-American tennis player doesn't have as much value on the market as your top football and basketball
Probably
players.
Not, but I bet they still could draw a crowd in that sport. I mean, they're not going to be like basketball, football, lacrosse. I totally agree with that. But I think this is America. You should be able to sell your wares for what you're worth. And I don't want the scholarship. Take it. I'll come on as a walk-on and hope that Red picks me to be a member of the team. If you got skills, you're going to pick them, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting how this rolls out. I'm just so sick and tired of the NCAA. I believe they have not given enough back to the superb athletes in the country. I've been saying it for years. And now, thank you to the NLRB, it might change. Let's hope so. That's my view. Yeah, everybody says, it's a 4-year ride. Oh, good. Give me a break. Some of these college athletes could make a fortune if they went and sold their wares. All right, let's talk Masters Week. The rite of spring. Nothing quite like it. CBS will show phenomenal coverage. I hate ESPN's first 2-day coverage, I must admit. But they're extending the coverage. Should be a wide open field. No Tiger. He's home with some icy hot and cold, working on the back. But Red, this tournament of all tournaments, you just never know. You get a guy like Zach Johnson, wins it 1 year, never goes for a par 5. As you know, the key there is the par 5s. He's wedging in 4 feet away, making putts. But it's a bomber's course. How do you look at the field? What's your gut feeling?
It's wide open this year. It really is, and it's not because Tiger's not there. I mean, it's just the talent pool is so strong.
Oh.
You might see your first-time winner. Which
yep.
Is, I personally, I could see Fowler possibly doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Sergio bandwagon as a sneaky pick, and then, of course, he plays well last week.
Yeah.
So that probably screws him up. But I think he led the event in putting.
Yeah.
That's always been his bugaboo.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it is wide open. I mean, even the first-timers, Jordan Spieth.
I love that kid.
You know, so
he missed the cut in Houston. Get more time to get to Augusta early.
Well, you talked earlier about the LPGA.
Yeah,
this is the new PGA Tour. I mean, it really is.
Jimmy, what do you think? Wide open field, right?
Yeah, but Matt Kuchar's going to win it.
Aha!
He played good this week. As a matter of fact, I was thinking the same thing. I picked Kuchar kind of, and then watching the Shell Houston Open yesterday, it looked like Kuchar was going to win. I said, well, that's going to ruin my pick because nobody ever wins the week before the Masters. But then that kid chipped in the playoff against him. Was
Matt Jones.
Yeah, and so now Matt Jones, imagine that. You're playing at the Shell Houston Open, and you have no plans to go to the Masters. And there's no way, the only way you can go to the Masters is if you win. And then he wins, and now you're at the Masters. So I'm not going to pick him, though. I'm picking Matt Kuchar.
All right. Well, you know, the thing about Tiger and Red, we got to get your opinion on that. 14 majors. Can he get the Jacks 18? Can he surpass them?
No.
I don't see it. I really don't. I look at the fields week to week, and you brought up a great guy, Jordan Spieth. To me, and you may agree or disagree, when Tiger was in his prime, winning all these tournaments, winning the Masters by 18 shots or whatever, the Ernies of the world and the Phils of the world, they would crumble on the first tee. They were intimidated. That isn't happening. You don't see that. I don't. I see
Tiger
the Spieths,
can't break par anymore.
The Harris Englishes, these young bucks, Jimmy. I mean, these kids coming out of college, they got so much game, and I don't think, Red, if you agree with me, they're not intimidated by him anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's not there.
They're definitely not. And I think that goes across to anybody, even Mickelson or the whole 9 yards. I mean, you know, these kids play so much golf. There's a kid in the Masters this week, and I'll make fun of myself on this, who won the Wisconsin State Open 2 or 3 years ago when he was 16 or 17, who won the U.S. Pub Links. His name's Jordan Nyebrugi, and I think he waxed me by like 100 shots that week. But, I was just happy to qualify. But yeah, no, I mean, you just never know. These guys are amazing. And, I mean, you think of guys that are flashes in the pans like Anthony Kim. Where's he?
Whatever happened to him?
You know, it's they're not intimidated. They play so much competitive golf now at such a young age that, you know, it's just second nature.
At the end of the day, that's the thing about golf. You can get all the hype you want. You can get all the endorsement contracts you want. But you got to go out there and post your score. Yeah. And so a guy like Anthony Kim obviously can't do it at that level anymore, so he kind of fades away. But Tiger's done. He hasn't won a major since 2008.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing with Tiger is that, you know, and the same thing kind of with Vijay Singh, those guys dominated the tour, but they were the two hardest workers on tour too. And
Tiger's not practicing.
He can't. He just can't physically do it anymore. And it's unfortunate because he does move the needle, and I'm a huge Tiger guy. But at the same time, I mean, thankfully, as a PGA professional, he's gotten a lot of people into the game, and from the outside. But I hate to say that he might done. And I'm a Nicklaus guy too.
Yeah.
So
I don't want him to beat Nicklaus. I never did.
All right, Red.
One quick thing about Tiger, though, it's not that these injuries obviously are playing a huge part, but the reason Tiger isn't as good as he was is the putting.
Yeah, he's not making.
He has no confidence. He used to be unbelievable, and that I think is what intimidated people. Wasn't that he pounded the ball, because a lot of guys pound the ball, but he made every putt he looked at when he needed it, and he just hasn't done that in the last several years. He's done.
All right, Eric, Red Lorenzetti, get ready to wrap up the show. But Eric, we announced you today as the new PGA Tour Commissioner. Your first active duty as that commissioner would be to figure out slow play on the tour. Andre Lupe, we talked about him taking 74 seconds to hit a second shot on a par 5. 74 seconds. What would you do if you were the commissioner and could change the rule right now for slow play? What would you enact?
Well, how about enforce the rule?
Enforce it. Like, you like the fact of a warning, or do you like the fact, hey, it's a shot?
I think it's a quick warning. It's one warning, and then after that,
goodbye.
I don't think it's one shot; it's two.
Whoa.
And
digging their bankroll.
Yeah, definitely. And, if they're playing well, I mean, that's the whole thing.
Oh,
that's killing the game. We're trying to find more ways to get more people in it to play it faster. And so everybody doesn't have the time, and then all of a sudden you watch them and they're playing 6-hour rounds. It just doesn't work.
Jimmy, what would you do, buddy, if you were the commissioner? How would you move up the play? The biggest controversy now is slow play. If you had the
I agree. If you got the rule, you got to enforce it and move it along. On the PGA Tour, on the local level, I think it's very important because with all the constraints on people's time these days, that it would be. You can't spend 5 hours on a golf course. It's a challenge to spend 4. So locally, or regular amateur golf, I think that's a bigger issue than the PGA Tour.
It's going to be interesting, folks. Okay, Jimmy Senecropi's on record picking Matt Kuchar. And
I'm going to go with Keegan Bradley.
Keegan Bradley. Aha. He's going to have to find a way to get rid of that long putter, though, in another year and a half.
That's true. He'll come by the Sam Putt Lab. We'll work on it.
How about Adam Scott? How about Timmy Clark? Good night, Irene.
Who's you only pick one? Who's your pick?
My pick will be, I'm going to go with Justin Rose.
Okay.
Last year's U.S. Open champion.
Foreigners don't win very often at Augusta.
Yeah. I like Justin Rose. Hey, Red, thanks a lot for spending a quick 30 minutes with us. We'd love to have you come back in the summertime.
Absolutely.
If you're in the area.
Thanks, Red.
Definitely.
Thanks for the hats, too.
Yeah.
Eric,
Thank you for the hats.
Web Dog and I, these great
That's right.
Galooya
hats.
Master Screen, too.
And Master Screen. I'll wear it all week.
Hey, folks, just an update on what we got scheduled the next few weeks. Next week, of course, we're calling the show The Beauty and the Beast. Young junior Waterloo, Chelsea Steinruck, her dream is to become a sportscaster. As I did with Madison Hillmeyer, we had her on the couch. We did a show together. She did some topics. I did some topics. Same format next week. Chelsea will be in to do the dog show. It'll call it The Beauty and the Beast. Let me guess who the beauty will be. Also on the 21st, we have Emil Bovey coming in talking politics. Lots of controversy, Emil, on the town hall. Should they spend the $2.5 million from the reserves? That and a whole lot more. He'll be on the couch on the 21st. We bring back Red's friend and my friend and Jim's friend, Brad Jones, talking Indian. Cayuga Indian Nation discussion about taxes and what the Senator DeZolio's gotten some money from the state. A lot of discussions with Brad Jones talking the Cayuga Indian Nations and our issue with the tax situation. So Brad Jones will be here on the 28th. I won't be here on the 5th, but I'm sure Jimmy will come up with something very interesting for you viewers. Take care, everybody. Once again, thanks to Eric Red Lorenzetti for joining us. And thank you, Romulus, last night for making my night special as we celebrated the amazing run of the Romulus Lady Warriors. Way to go, ladies. Take care, everybody. That's a look at Weber this week. My way.